Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us in another edition of the program Through My Eyes Town Hall, where thought leaders come together, where they converge to share their ideas and their thoughts on topical issues affecting us around the world. For today, we are looking at a very critical topic. We're looking at the security situation in Nigeria, the cry of people in Nigeria for security, and helping us to unravel the situation there. We've got two people who are experts in their own rights, who are going to be talking us through the different challenges facing the Nigerian nation and the people of that nation, and what those of us in the diaspora may be able to do to assist in what is fast becoming a struggle in that nation. And with us today, we've got Dr. Dapo Thomas. He is a foreign policy expert, and he's also a senior lecturer in the Department of History and International Studies of the Lagos State University in Nigeria. He was a special advisor to the governor of Lagos State between 1999 and 2007. We're going to be asking him all those policy questions, so we'll direct those at him. We also have with us today Dele Farotimi, and Dele Farotimi is he's a lawyer. He's a seasoned political activist. He's also an author, and he has some very interesting views about the nation of Nigeria and the challenges going on in that nation. And without further ado, I will welcome our guests. But just before I do that, we have some people in the virtual studio audience who we may be bringing into the live stream as the program goes on. And with that said, let's welcome our guests this evening. Doctor, you're welcome. Dele, you're welcome to the program this evening.
Thank you very much for having me.
Excellent. Well, let's start this program this evening. Dele, let me start with you. The state of security in Nigeria has deteriorated considerably. I think that goes without saying, and it appears that some of the actions we're seeing, some of the operators we're seeing, literally they get away with murder. Now, how did we get to this stage?
You know, I looked at the topic for today's talks. It said the cry for a secure Nigeria. And the first thing that struck me was maybe we should be asking the question, who are the ones crying for a secure Nigeria? Because it is rather presumptive to imagine that every Nigerian, particularly our rulers, have any interest of any sort in a secure Nigeria. The evidence will suggest otherwise. So when you ask this question, I think it becomes rather important to, first of all, begin to ask some questions about our country, be that as the case might be. You said in your introduction, you alluded to the fact that we're essentially dealing with diaspora audience and asking questions as to what that community in the diaspora might be able to do, perhaps to salvage the Nigerian situation. So let me just say this. The most important thing you can do for us, which is related to the question you asked, is that you must stop watering down the true meaning of words simply because you're using them in Nigeria. There mustn't be a different standard asked of Nigeria. The issue of security is related to the issue of citizenship. It is related to the issue of democracy. It is related to the issue of human rights. It is related to so many issues because it is the foundation of the state itself. If the state has failed in the most basic of its tasks, you begin to then ask, how safe is the long-term integrity of the Nigerian state itself? So let me just, because I know there will be so many other questions that will be coming, and I don't want to take the space away from my Oga, from my alma mater as well. So let me just leave it at that for now, please.
All right. We'll come back to that. I think you've raised an interesting point, and that kind of gives an interesting dynamic to the question. Dr. Thomas, let me ask you this question before we come back to Delhi there. In terms of the view you think people in diaspora have on the security situation in Nigeria, do you think that is right?
Well, I cannot say categorically that it is right, in the sense that it depends on the perception or from the perspectives that those in the diaspora actually uh, visualize the security architecture or the security situation in Nigeria. Um, when you are in the diaspora, you mainly rely on media reports, and then you also rely on gossips from family and friends who are in Nigeria. And to that extent, you may have some level of exaggerations, hyperboles, and all sorts of magnifications of the situation in Nigeria. For those of us who are here, we really believe that the situation is real. The security issue or the security problem is real, in the sense that we walk the streets. We do not rely on reports. We don't rely on media reports. Neither do we rely on gossips or maybe reports from our families and friends in Nigeria. Some of us are witnesses to the kidnapping of fellow Nigerians. Some of us are witnesses to armed robbery situations. Some of us have been victims. So those in diaspora may not actually know or feel or practically experience what we go through here. But let me just say that the situation of insecurity is real. It's not just, it's so obvious, so palpable that everybody in Nigeria knows that something is wrong. And as such, if anything is wrong with the security architecture or with the security system, who should we blame? The citizens who are not playing the part they should play in information or intelligence gathering, or the leaders who are responsible fundamentally for the security of lives of their citizens and the properties of their citizens. So these are the situations. So those in the diaspora, I want to believe, do not even really have the information. But even if exaggerated, they still don't know how it feels to be on the streets of Lagos or to be on the streets in Nigeria and still have this kind of scenario that will make you to just be looking front, back, and left, right, and center. Why? Because you do not even have the feeling that moving from your house to the other neighbor's house, from your house to the other neighbor's house, which is just about 5 meters or 10 meters, you are safe. So that's the dilemma. That is how the security situation has heightened, that you do not even know whether greeting your neighbor who lives just 10 meters across you will come back alive. So that's my position on that.
Let me put this question back to you, sir, before I go back to Delhi, because it's something that I've had a lot. A lot of people say this, that the minute there is a riot, the minute there is a demonstration or of some sort, the first thing we're looking for is international coverage. We need international media to pick this thing up. And at the end of the day, international media that feeds those of us in the diaspora will pick this information and they put it out there. Where do you draw the line between, look, this is what the media is putting out, and that is the line that we're going to follow? Where do you draw that line of engaging international media to help us and international media presenting a face that doesn't actually represent the true cry of the people?
Well, in the first instance, any citizen who is interested in international media reporting what goes on, or reporting his participation, or maybe the riots that are going on in the country, or whatever situation or crisis situation that is on ground, may not be doing that. You may not say that that person is not patriotic. It is the situation that has called for it, because you know that possibly those in the diaspora or do not trust the Nigerian media, and they believe that there is a sort of conspiracy between the Nigerian government or the Nigerian leaders and the local media. So in that situation, they do not want a situation where 50 people, 100 people, 1,000 people may be killed in a riot, and then it will be swept under the carpet. So for objective reporting, for international coverage, for international enlightenment, and for the whole world to see the kind of carnage or the kind of crisis that is going on in Nigeria, I think they sincerely, that is, they are calling, I believe that sincerely, that is why they are calling on international media to come and beam on what is going to, or what is going on in Nigeria. That's number one. However, you may also say, okay, they are not patriotic, because why are you increasing the tendency for international promotion of the carnage or maybe the atrocities going on in your country? But you know, you have to draw a level between patriotism and your own safety. You know, if you are not safe and you want to pretend as if things are okay in your country, if you are caught in the web of this kind of insecurity dilemma, then you are going to have yourself to blame. So it is better to allow the international media to also partake or engage in the coverage. In any case, why should only the local media? Because number one, you cannot prevent anybody from covering a situation that is occurring, because it's a global village, and every journalist is entitled to free participation or free coverage. However, you are saying, where do we draw this line and everything? I just want to believe that whatever line you want to draw, first and foremost, those who are asking the international media to come and participate, they are sincerely interested in how to improve or ameliorate the security situation. If by any chance the international media now enlarges or magnifies the situation on ground, it's another thing entirely, because nobody is telling them how to go about their job professionally. Your own major concern is how to beam, how to let the world know this is exactly what is happening. So if they now twist everything, I believe that's a professional problem. It's a professional inadequacy. It has nothing to do with those in the diaspora that are calling on the international media to also participate in the coverage of the carnage or maybe the riots that are going on.
Dele, what's your view on that point?
I would put it's two-pronged, really. First thing, the world is no longer just the world. It's not a global village, as everybody uses the cliche. All of us have become one small village. And if we're happy for our good news to be covered, we can hardly complain if all that is issuing forth from our country and recent happen to be a barrage of bad news. But that is on one hand. The key thing is this. When you look at the Nigerian news landscape, the media landscape in Nigeria is largely dominated by people with money. It's only thanks to God and the media here where you now hide down in my bedroom and we can be having this chat. You can be on the world and we don't require the patronage of political fat cat to be able to have the sort of conversation we're able to have now because of the internet age. Yes, that has made it much easier, but the truth really is that insofar as it is a demand for truth to be amplified, then nobody can really complain about the participation of the international media. I, for one, am very happy to see them participate in what is going on, especially at the Lagos State, the tribunal, the Lekki tribunal. I'm happy to see them there because without the constant barrage of international press covering that place, for instance, a lot of things might not have been highlighted as well as they've been. So for me, they are very welcome. And as long as the same standards they will use in their countries are applied in ours, I am with their participation.
All right, let me move this conversation to a key point that I really want to hear both your opinions on. Last year, we all know about the dastardly acts of the Lekki toll gate scenario. It still hasn't gone off completely. It's still causing a lot of issues. The question I have for you, Dele, is what are your views on how that tribunal has progressed to date? Because it did receive international coverage. There was criticism about international coverage. Now the tribunal is doing the work of the tribunal, and there are challenges regarding what that tribunal is doing at the moment. So, what are your views on what is going on with regards to that? I think we've just lost Dele there, but while we wait for him to come back, Doc, there's a question I want to put to you first, and that question is this: you were a policy advisor to the governor of Lagos State between 1999 and 2007. What kind of policy initiatives would you have been recommending at this point in time to address that issue?
Well, for now, I think the problem we have on ground is more of a national problem than state problem. The issue of NSAS we had last year, basically, that fundamentally that one was it was a national problem, but the location was Lagos State. Well, I don't want to start talking about that again, in the sense that the tribunal, so that whatever I'm going to say will not be prejudicial to what the tribunal is doing. However, for now, the spate of armed robbery, the spate of kidnapping, and all sorts, the incidence of kidnapping, the incidence of armed robbery and everything is not as heightened as it is. I mean, it's not as heightened in Lagos as it is in some other, particularly in the northeast, in the northeast and some parts of the east. In Lagos State, there is relative peace. Relative peace, which means you are still free to do your business, to transact, to do transactions, to engage in to go to school, to go to markets, to operate, to do whatever you're doing. Because when I was in government, and I believe till now, there was this creation of RRS. They call them RRS. I think that helped a lot. So there was a kind of synergy between the conventional police and these RRS, who were basically professionally trained to only fight crimes, and then the conventional police. So the synergy actually worked, and I believe it's still working. Although at a particular point in time, I can't remember who was in charge. There was breakdown, and that was why you have the Evans situation, and then you have kidnapping stories here and there in Ekpe, in all sorts. But for now, it's a long time I have anything. I mean that is a long time we had of any situation or scenario where there was any security breakdown. And I want to believe that what is going for Lagos State is the fact that the present commissioner of police happens to be one of those who were actually involved in the evolution of the security architecture that we have in place now in Lagos. So the understanding has been there until recently when Tunji Disu was posted out of Lagos State. He was the commander of RRS, and then we have Odumosu. So these two together, and they understand and they know every dark spot in Lagos State, and that is why it has been very, very peaceful to some extent. You know, you can't never in a Nigeria situation where there is a national problem, the qualities of national crisis, is always very difficult or complex to say you want to have a unit that will be peaceful totally. But in Lagos State, I do not think that there is any initiative that one can actually put forward now, because I personally believe that they are doing a good job in Lagos State. That is the situation. So I probably have not had in recent times cases of kidnapping, armed robbery, and everything, but we have the only major problem that we have in Lagos is in terms of crime is the cultism issue. We have area boys. I mean, we have cultists now dotting every part of Lagos State in different locations, and this is very serious. But I believe that is what a major problem that the Commissioner of Police has concentrated on now, and whether he's winning the battle or not depends on whatever empirical evidence that one can use to support his position. But to them, they believe that they are winning the battle against cultism. It is terrible. Every street now has a cult, a fraternity, or whatever they call themselves, and everything.
We'll come back to that point in a second. Dele, do you want to share your views just before we lost you there? The question was
Yes,
about
I would love to.
The Lekki toll
I would love
gate
to.
and how that is. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would love to.
Go ahead.
I was able to hear everything that was being said, even though video was lost. So let me quickly respond by saying this. When the tribunal was set up, we were not so naive as to believe that the tribunal was going to be able to give justice to the victims. But it was critical that we attended the tribunal and ensure that the world could see very clearly that even what were being, by their denials, they were affirming the truth. They told sufficient lies, and they have told sufficient lies to establish the truth of what happened under the cover of darkness. I am a lawyer, retired as I might be, and I have submitted myself to the jurisdiction of that panel, so I'll be careful not to say much concerning its functionality. But let me quickly respond to the issue concerning security in Lagos State. Remember that when we were starting out, I was quick to ask a question. I said, who are the people crying for a secure Nigeria? In Lagos State, as in every other state of Nigeria, every theater of insecurity in Nigeria, you'll find very quickly that at the root of it all, it is the ruling class that you will find deeply embedded. In the Niger Delta, the so-called militants in the Niger Delta are the political enforcers of the political class. They graduated to militancy, pipeline protection. The people crying for security in the Niger Delta are the poor people of the Niger Delta. The ruling class in the Niger Delta do not live in the creeks. And when they do go into the creeks, they go with sufficient guns and bulletproof cars to feel safe. It is the poor men and women children who cry for security in the Niger Delta. The Boko Haram, who is responsible? It's the Nigerian ruling class, yet again, weaponizing religion. But let me come back home to Lagos. I mean, at the end of the day, when you speak in terms of security, it begins with the person. I just submitted a petition to the law enforcement agencies in Lagos State, crying out about threats, not even threats, plans revealed about plans to kill me by persons closely affiliated with the ruling hegemony in Lagos State. And the reality is that there is a fusion between the ruling class and the criminal elements. All these cults, why are they enabled and why are they ignored? They've become malignant everywhere you turn in Lagos State, from Fadeyi to Shomolu, Surulere, everywhere in Lagos State, everywhere. And what is causing it? Unemployment on huge scale, deindustrialization, little or no education, no opportunities of any sort, but enablement. And they see that it is the criminal elements that are getting ahead because they are the enforcement arms of the political class. So when we talk about insecurity in Nigeria, we must be clear to understand very quickly that our rulers are the arsonists who continually set fire to our homes. Lagos State is relatively peaceful. Peaceful in the sense that as long as we do not threaten the livelihood of those who feed from the Commonwealth in Lagos State, nobody is going to disturb you. They'll leave you, go and make enough money to be taxed, go and make enough money for some of it to fall back down. But the reality of the matter is that the minute you have an opinion that is not in tandem with that of the ruling hegemony in Lagos State, your life is worth very little. That is the reality. So when we talk about security, let us be clear that there are different levels of security and there are different layers to it. If you're talking generally about security, Lagos is safer than most other states in Nigeria. That is a reality nobody can escape. And that is because, to a very large extent, it is the only state being run like a business. Note that word. It is being run as a business. Nothing wrong with doing that, as long as it is being run for the interest of the people. But that's another ball game for another day. But that is as far as security is in Lagos State. Relatively better than most states. Most, yeah. But venture out. Try going to Ibadan. You see how many Fulani checkpoints you are likely to meet on the road. So relatively safe. Yeah.
Doctor, do you want to respond to that?
No, I think we share the same objective. It's just a matter of perspective. But like I said, because when you want to contextualize the submission, all you will say is that compared to other states, Lagos is relatively peaceful. And we also share the same position on the fact that cultism is a major problem, being caused by the ruling class, being caused by politicians, being caused by everybody, being caused by unemployment. So, I mean, one cannot dispute this fact. One cannot dispute this fact because some of these guys. But sometimes maybe a smaller percentage, though, some of them may be out of laziness. Maybe they are just lazy to do some work. And because when I was in government, for instance, I remember very well that at a stage, I don't know who came up with the idea now, but one of us suggested to the governor then, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that instead of giving handout to some of these guys, why not give them jobs so that they can do? And then that time we just started what we call drain dogs. That is the drains. You go and clear them and everything. Oh, and the governor said, okay, that is true, but let me just give them money for today. So he gave them, and then he asked them to report to the general manager of the drain dogs. And so they went. He told them that they should tell him that they are from him. It should give them automatic employment and everything. A week later, these guys came again. They know where the governor normally parks his car and everything. So they came. And then when he saw them, he said, I asked to go and meet so and so person. Why are you still here again? I said, I don't want to be giving her that. I have given you job. I said they should give you job. Have you gone to the person? Has he not given you job? Well, they said he gave us job, but that is not our own job. That they are not interested in clearing gutter or anything, that they are used to this kind of lifestyle. So whatever amount he will give them, just give us. We are not interested in clearing any gutter. We don't want to do this kind of laborious work and everything. So it depends, but that's a very small percentage, But the talks being used by the politicians, then joblessness, unemployment, and so I think Dele and I share the same position on the level of crime or crime rate in Lagos State.
All right, let me move this on a little bit in a slightly different direction. Now, these acts have been, and there's some people that disagree. I think with both of you actually on the relative level of safety in Lagos State. I can see some of the comments on social media saying, well, they disagree with you on that. Now, we won't go into detail on that particular point, but the question I want to put forward is this, and it's this menace of Fulani headsmen that we've had. The rhetoric that's coming out right now is one that says, well, these Fulani headsmen are not Nigerians. They haven't come from Nigeria. Dele, how do you respond to that first?
See, we would always, Yorubas have this funny proverb. They say, "Toba your best, okay." You would always end up at the same conclusion. When people say this, and then you have to juxtapose that against the words of people like Matawale, the words of people in the presidency. You hear people tell you just how a Fulani can come to Nigeria and he's just a Nigerian because, yes, his cousins and everybody are here. But my cousins in Republic of Benin, they would have to queue at the border before they can come to this place. They will talk about closing borders, but it's only borders down here that get closed. Look, the reality is that some people are deliberately provoking or seeking to provoke a war in Nigeria. There is no point sugarcoating it for ourselves any longer. When you have a situation where impunity is being repackaged, you hear someone like Gumi telling everybody that, oh, these are not bandits and they are not terrorists. They're actually militants. So we can now normalize it to the point where we can speak of general amnesty for people who just mistakenly kill a few people once in a while. So you come to the point where you find very quickly that in the same country, some people can blithely shut down the food supply to a section of the country, and the government sits in power and nobody appears to be able to offer direction in a country that is drifting dangerously. The question that I believe we should be asking really is, who are the people compromising the security of Nigerians? And the question is why? Because they say they are foreigners, but we have immigration services. They say they are Fulani people are entitled to bear arms. Are they entitled to automatic weapons? And these are officials, government officials, and government officials speaking in excuse of criminality. So when people begin to speak in terms of how these are foreign Fulanis, they've already told us in clear terms, and these are people in government telling us, there are no foreign Fulanis. If the Fulani is here, as far as they are concerned, is a Nigerian. And the sooner we also listen to these interpretation and factor it into the interpretation of our realities, the better for us. What we need to understand very quickly is that what have today become headsmen were the same people who used to be the political enforcers in those places, in Zamfara, particularly. The gold mines brought the criminality, but they had political cover. There was a point, if you recall, when they were busy arresting local chiefs in that part because of their role in the legal gold mine. So you find very quickly that these insecurities always have their roots in elite compromises. It is the common people who bear the brunt, but all these are now coalescing. And you're finding very quickly that what we have often referred to as Fulani criminality is finding home with Islamic fundamentalism. And very quickly, you find as well that the headsmen in the Benue Trough have become increasingly brutal and very murderous. And they have taken more lives than even Boko Haram. And all these are being tolerated and excused and explained by government officials, high government officials, even in the presidency. And our president, silent, even as the country is burning. So our situation, please, we are approaching a war. Only God can save us.
So thank you for that. But let's move the question to how do we then solve this problem? Some have raised, and maybe Doc, I start with you first. Some have raised this issue of, well, we need to split the country. Everybody needs to go their way. I know that Dele had a view which he seems to have moved away from, and we'll come back to that in a second. But Doc, how do we solve this problem in practical terms? Lay people like us are saying, what do I do? My family is at risk. People I love are at risk. How do I change the narrative? Doc.
Well, I think the first, moving forward now, the first position that I would suggest is non-politicization, non-politicization of the security apparatus or the security architecture. Number two, sincerity on the part of our leaders. And then number three, raising the consciousness among the population, among the people, among the citizens themselves, as partakers and participants in the intelligence formation that will help in nipping in the bud the upsurge of crime in certain localities. And again, there is also the need for the security agencies to go into their traditional role of professionalization. You know, in the past, they were very, very professional, particularly the NSO then, now the DSS. Of recent, the DSS has become politicized to the point that you do not even know whether these people are professionals again or not. You know, in the past, during the Shikafi era, Umari Shikafi, you know, you will dread and you'll be scared of the NSO. And because they were discharging their professional responsibilities with due diligence, and you will be convinced that these people are not actually persecuting anybody. They are doing their professional job. Anytime we hear of DSS now, it is all about politics. And that is very dangerous, very, very dangerous for us. And then the intelligence arm of the police, what are they doing? It is dead. It is dead. There is no, when you even see the police, in fact, sometimes when I see, possibly on some of these videos, and I see the questions that some of these police officers are asking from criminals that they are parading, you will be wondering, do these people have any kind of training? You know, so what is the degree? What is the quality of training that these people are receiving these days? Because number one, crime, like I was explaining the Lagos state situation, that Akim Odumosu haven't lived in Agege, and haven't served in Lagos State for considerable period of time. And then with Tunji Disu, who also served in Lagos and was raised in Lagos. So these two people, and then Shobulo of late now, I mean, he's late now. These people understand the typology of security in terms of its network to the grassroots. So they comb the grassroots. They go into the hamlets. They go into the dark spots to go and scoop these people out, and then to go and to make sure that, because once those dark spots are combed and they are thoroughly and comprehensively swept clean, there will be some kind of peace at the center. So the understanding now is that there is a kind of there is lack of cooperation. There's lack of cooperation. I think everybody now in the security system, everybody now they are doing eye service. Eye service has taken over for professional service. Everybody wants attention of the president. They want the attention, and everybody wants to pretend as if, look, I'm the one that is working best. I'm the one that is doing the entire work of the entire security system. So this has to stop. Politicization has to stop. And then deployments. You are deploying people to Sambisa, you are deploying people, and then you discover that it is only a section of the country that you are deploying. Why? Because those from the north do not even want to go and kill their brothers, so they leave the place.
Doctor, let
or you will
me
not
check
even
something there, Doctor. Are you saying that the people being deployed to address the issues in the north are not northern personnel?
No. They are I mean, paradoxically, no. How? And meanwhile, these are the people you should send there. But they are the people that you don't want Hausa to kill Hausa. You don't want Fulani to kill Fulani. You don't want these people to go and kill their brothers. So you now deploy people from different sections of the country, and then they go there. That is why you have high incidence of AWOL. That's why people are leaving. Because they know that what sacrifices are they going to make for a nation that will not, at the end of the day, appreciate whatever role or whatever contributions they have made into the into achieving peace for the nation. And then they see the connection, because there is nobody in the military now, nobody in the police now that is in the army from the north that does not have a godfather. In any case, you cannot even get there without godfathers. So it's their godfathers that put them in the service. And then once they put them, they are the same people that will be protecting them from going into very turbulent locations or turbulent points or turbulent fronts. So we now send our own people. You now send people from different parts of the country. You now send them there. And then these people do not have any idea of the geography, the topography, and even the politics of the indigenous, the politics of the locals in that place. And then again, once these people in the north, particularly those who are in the position to give you information on that will help in giving you the location of the Boko Haram elements. When they are suspicious of you, so they are not likely to interact with you. They are not likely to give you any information because you cannot even speak their language. And then if you speak their language, they still identify you as an alien. So instead of you to send those who understand their language, those who can interact with them, those who know the politics of the area, you don't say. Why are people talking of local policing? Is it not for the fact that, look, when you create local policing, those elements, those people that will serve at that level are people who understand the community. They are the people who understand the communal situation. Yes.
Let me put a point to Dele here, because you are talking about something that I think he raised in the past about this issue of people saying, well, if that's the case, let the North take care of the North, let the South take care of the South. Now, Dele, I know you had a view on this in the past, and I have heard you say you have changed your view in terms of having this split as the case may be. Can you explain that?
I have never advocated for the split of Nigeria. Never. Never. At
Or you
least not. No, never. I once harbored that kind of sentiment in my younger days, but at least in the last 20, 25 years, I've not had any such thoughts. I have advocated for the unity of Nigeria tirelessly. In fact, my greatest undoing amongst a lot of my own people is that I am not one of the Odua Republic irredentists. That's one of the sins I have committed against a lot of Yoruba people. And a lot of my Igbo friends are not able to understand why I would not why I wouldn't support the emergence of Biafra. No, I am one of those idiots who continue to hope and believe that Nigeria might yet find the grace to become what it can be. I believe in one Nigeria, but not one Nigeria based on the fraudulent 1999 constitution. I have continually campaigned against that constitution. I believe that the last valid constitution of Nigeria is the 1963 constitution. And I am one of those who believe that the totality of the Nigerian problem is encapsulated in that 1999 constitution. But to talk about a split, no, I have never supported one. Now,
okay?
Sorry, okay, go on. Let me allow you.
No, what I was going to say was this. I thought that you supported the
No.
Odua Republic
No.
issue and then changed stance on that.
No.
No, okay.
No, I do not.
Okay. You talk about the 1963 Constitution. Let me go to that point, because for lay people who are there hearing this conversation about the Constitution not being the right Constitution we're using in Nigeria, in practical terms, how do you change that? How do you
Thank you very
decide
much.
you are not going to use that Constitution, you want to do something else?
Let me say this. When I started out, before I started speaking publicly, I realized that I needed to give people the opportunity to understand how my mind works and exactly what I'm about. So that brought about Do Not Die in Their War. Or the book I actually set out to write originally is about to be unleashed on all of you. And the title is The Imperatives of the Nigerian Revolution. Now, what do I mean by the Nigerian Revolution? The Nigerian Revolution means a demand for citizenship based on the last agreed framework for the governance of Nigeria. What do I mean? When you talk of revolution, most of the time people are imagining that you are carrying cutlasses and guns and there is violence. Yeah, the state would always seek to enforce its will and to force those who would want to change the system into compliance. So you can always expect that the state will be violent. But the choice of the conscious is to decide whether to harm themselves or to take the force of their moral convictions and confront the state with that. Now, if I am a citizen, it means that I should have a say as to how I am governed. The last time the Nigerian people had a say as to how they are governed was in 1963. The 1963 Constitution is the culmination of a series of several conferences that were held all through the 50s. Practice runs with the parliamentary system of governance, and it was the perfection of the 1960 Independence Constitution, which was bequeathed on Nigeria at independence. We grew our country constitutionally with the addition of the Midwest region, which followed the 1962 plebiscite. So the Nigerian people were able to, on their own, after independence in 1960, move and advance their constitution forward by adding an extra region, following on the report of the Willings Commission on the Right of the Minorities. There were other regions that were meant to come out of other regions as it came out of the West. The 1966 coup interrupted that constitutional process. But it does not change the fact that the 1999 Constitution is the illegitimate child of a band of military crooks and bandits who shot their ways into power, and without consulting with the Nigerian people, they came up with a document they called the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The fraudulence of that document is unparalleled by any other in the world. Even in its name is a lie. The Federal Republic of Nigeria. There's absolutely nothing federal about Nigeria. This is not semantics, it's a matter of fact. You can stay in England and say the word bogus means false, but it comes to Nigeria, it means big. The word federal means federal, and it should mean federal everywhere in the world. It is only in Nigeria that the federal government creates federating units. And that incongruous nonsense only came as a function of military diktat and fiat. Each and every one of our constitutions since 1963 constitution have been military decrees. Now, if you are doing the same thing, a look at that thing you are doing and seek to do it differently. The word revolution means a turnaround. Anything that is done to turn the ship of the Nigerian state that is heading steadily towards a rock is a revolution. So, as far as I'm concerned, Nigerian people would need to get to the point where we would have to agree on one of the several draft constitutions that have been circulated amongst the ethnic nationalities. And then we will mobilize ourselves behind it as peacefully as can ever be. That does not mean that the Nigerian state will not be violent. I cannot account for what the state will do. But surely we have to do something to try and turn this country away from these current trajectories, which is taking it towards certain destruction. Everywhere you look in Nigeria right now, the Nigerian state is already at war. Already. That is the reality of Nigeria. You live in Lagos, you want to go to Ibadan, you are planning. If you can have access to bulletproof cars, you are looking for it. If you can't, I know rich people who don't use their cars anymore. They take public transport. They are going to Benin. They will take public transport to Benin because they are afraid of being kidnapped on the road. Now they are kidnapping people on the bus, wholesale kidnapping. So we are already walking towards that place, and something has to happen to turn it around. I am of the view that anything that takes us back to where we were hijacked might perhaps save us from the destruction we appear to be heading towards.
Doc, let me push this question to you because in my own view, again, a layman's view, and I think that there probably would be a lot of people out there still sharing this same view that haven't had what Dele said there. It's going to be quite difficult for us to have a formal apparatus that gathers all these people together in all the different places that doesn't turn into yet another big setup of another committee of some sort to debate these things. And if one thing is clear in Nigeria, we don't agree on a lot of things very quickly. What's your view on this, Doctor?
Well, I have a very personal position on constitution drafting and all these summits, conferences, and all sorts. I want to believe that whatever document even emerges from the format or from the picture that we have now, that okay, let's get some fresh people, let them come up with ideas, let them come up with the ideas for a new Nigeria, a better Nigeria and everything, we'll still end up the same way. You know, I think what we lack as a nation is the political will to make things work. We lack the will. We do not have that patriotic consciousness that, look, whatever emerges, you know, we let us make it work. Anything, I don't belong to that level. I mean, to that class of people who have nostalgia for the past. Things that are trending now, contemporary history, contemporary situations, do not give me any hope that a relapse into a nostalgic feeling for the past will definitely solve the solution of the present Nigeria system or Nigeria situation. What I believe is that whatever we can make now of the situation, if everybody, the leaders, the citizens, if we are conscientious enough, patriotic enough to say that what we want is a united Nigeria, is a peaceful Nigeria, is a Nigeria that works, things will work. Things will definitely work. But we lack that will, we lack that consciousness, we lack that resolve, we lack that interest, we lack that enthusiasm. People don't want things to work. Why? Because so many people, particularly our leaders, they benefit from crisis. They benefit from violence. They benefit from when things are, they reap only when there is violence, when there is opera, because ordinarily, from what you call the security vote, you know that there is no governor or any president who definitely. How do you justify the spending of your security vote if there wasn't any crisis during your period? So it pays them. They are beneficiaries. They are instigators of crisis. They are instigators of violence. Why? Because it pays them as it entails commercial benefits. So they make money from the security vote. The security vote these people are collecting is no chicken feed, my brother. It's no chicken feed. So as a result, crisis is an enterprising industry for our leaders. Violence, riots, all these things, from every violence, from every riot, from every crisis that happens, do you know the millions and millions and millions that people make, at the end of the day? So that is my own position. Whatever we want, let it be from inside of us. Let it be a conscientious thing. Let it be a patriotic zeal, a patriotic submission, a patriotic feeling that, look, I want things to work. So, and then you'll be so dispassionate about it in terms of whether you want to make money. You don't make money at the expense of people's lives and blood. No, you don't make such money.
Fantastic.
Such money will not. Yes.
Doc, we've run out of time, but let me do this. I'll start with Dele. In 1 minute, if there was one thing you could change as a parting shot in 1 minute that you think will have the greatest impact in addressing this security state of Nigeria, what would that be?
Justice. Justice. Let the law rule and give justice to all. And security will blossom in the land. But that's the problem right there. And that is why I wish I had time to respond to what Dr. Thomas had said.
Do you want to respond to that? I could extend it a little bit.
I would love to.
Okay.
I would love to.
Go ahead.
Systems. Every society is built on systems. And the system that we currently run, as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution, which gives you 774 local governments, is not a federation, will not lead us anywhere in the future. What we have proposed, I'll be happy to send to Dr. Thomas, is not a return to 4 regions, is an improvement on it, but we can't proceed on our current vehicle. But as far as going forward, give Nigerians justice. Let the law rule, and security will blossom in Nigeria.
Thank you. Doctor, in 1 minute, if you had that one thing you could do, what would it be?
Well, I will talk to the principal actor in the midst of this crisis. And who is that? The President Muhammadu Buhari, and let him know that those, leaders who ruled their countries well, patriotically in the past, they have made name in history. They have made very solid name in history. Mandela is there. Sankara is there. But leaders who also created violent scenarios, wars for their nations, have also made names, positive, negative. So which of these two does he prefer? I will lecture him on which one he should pick. So that's the easy, because I believe that if he is sincere, if he changes his position, if he has a different a view that aligns with the populace, things will change dramatically in this country. But as far as he's concerned, he's so obstinate, is there. He doesn't want things to change. He doesn't even want anything that will improve the situation. I'm sorry, but what I'm saying is that I have not seen it. I've not seen that that spirit in him, that spirit of saying, let me change things. I've not seen it. And that's why I said I will talk to him on how to change things. And then maybe from there, we'll move.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your time this evening. I know you both have really busy schedules, but you've taken time to have this discussion with us. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. To the guests we have in the studio across all the platforms, thank you so much for your time being here. These conversations will continue in the future. We have weekly programs every Saturday where we deal with social and cultural issues across the different nations of the world. But for the next couple of weeks, we're going to be looking at security, and we will have different people help us on that journey. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you once again to our guests. Thank you for your time.